6:35. Okay, we'll begin with roll call. Chair Mullings.
Here.
Commissioner Beeler. Commissioner Bondsmith.
Here.
Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Lip.
Here.
Commissioner Lyons.
Here.
And Commissioner Smits. Okay. Just making sure that no one's joining us on Zoom. Okay. And that concludes roll call. We'll now start with any non-agenda public comment about any issues that aren't on the agenda. Okay. Any agenda?
Possible to welcome our newest member?
Yes.
Okay,
You
good.
could as a member of the public.
As a resident
Yes.
of Alameda.
Yes.
Welcome,
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Lyons. So nice to have you.
Thank you.
Just commenting that we don't do necessarily official business at this part of the agenda, but I want to acknowledge it's nice to have you aboard.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Nice to
Wonderful.
meet you all.
Thank you. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. There were quite a few for you guys to read through. Thank you. For June 5th, 2024, January 22nd, 2025, March 12th, 2025, and May 14th, 2025. If there were no concerns or comments, we can vote to approve all at once, and then we'll move on.
So I was only at one meeting, so I'm going to abstain for the first three.
Okay.
And then I'll vote for the fourth one, if that's okay.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think I was present for all, and I didn't find anything that needed editing or correcting, so I can move to approve them, I think is the right verb.
I second.
Okay, so we'll do a vote to approve, let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's just do all minutes, and John, your Commissioner Lip, sorry, your vote will only be for the fourth set, so we'll do the three of the four, so the first three. That would only be three people voting, I would think. Okay.
Okay, so I can, do you want me to second his?
Yeah, so we already did the motion to vote, so now
Okay.
we'll do a vote to approve June, January, and March.
Okay, I would vote in favor of that.
So the three commissioners that were present for those meetings need to vote. Yes or no?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
And then for May 14th, we'll have four commissioners who can vote on that one.
And I can move to approve?
Very nice. I second.
Aye.
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 Wonderful. We're good, right?
Okay, great. All minutes approved. Next meeting, we'll just have one set of minutes to review and vote to approve those. Okay. Moving into our regular agenda, we have a representative from the City of Alameda here to present tonight. This is the Residential Rehabilitation Program Overview. This is an informational item, so there will be no vote at the end of this, but we will open for questions. Please welcome, was it Grecia? I'm sorry, could you remind me of your last name?
Grecia Mana Ayon.
Thank you. Staff Representative Grecia Manon.
Ayon, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Grecia Mana Ayon, or Gracia. I am a program manager with the Housing and Human Services Division here in the city of Alameda. That division is actually housed under the city manager's office. So I am here today to share with you our latest residential rehabilitation programs. The city has been doing residential rehabilitation in different kinds of programs for a long time. They are funded by the, sorry, are the slides up? Oh, great. Great. So they are funded by community development block grants. Those are federal grants by HUD, given by HUD, so that any money or programs used with those funds have to follow HUD requirements, and HUD is the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department. Next slide, please. All right, so as mentioned, this is funded by CDBG. There are two programs, the Minor Home Modification Grant Program and the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program. We do have a small pool of funding, so these awards would go to about 5 to 7 households. And they are programs for safety, accessibility, and mobility improvements for owner-occupied homes and units. We are working with program administrator Rebuilding Together East Bay Network. They're a nonprofit that works in the East Bay with a wealth of experience in rehabilitation, home improvements, repairs, safety modifications, and they were selected through a competitive RFP process. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, it gives me a little break. Okay, so here's more detail on that first program that I mentioned. So they are, we got very creative with the title of these programs. They pretty much are what they are titled. So the Minor Home Modification Grant Program provides small grants up to $5,000. It helps individuals make essential home modifications for safety and mobility. Anyone that meets the income criteria can apply. However, we are prioritizing seniors and individuals with disabilities. So all things being equal, seniors and folks with disabilities would be higher on the list. Some examples of the improvements or repairs that can be made include walkway repair, installation of smoke detectors, bathroom grab bars, and other safety modifications. Our goal here is essentially, we know that we have an aging population. We also know that we want folks to age in place. And outside of aging, we also want to provide the resources for folks with disabilities to be able to age in place in their home as well, regardless of their age. Next slide, please. So we also have the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program, which is a loan of up to $15,000. It is for larger projects or home improvements. This would offer the financial and the technical assistance for low and moderate income homeowners for emergency repairs. They're emergency repairs, but in terms of the home is not to the safety standard that it would be best quality of life for the person living there. So it doesn't have to be that like your home is flooding and so you have to call somebody and then you go through the application process, but maybe it's that you've been struggling to go up the stairs or your smoke detector's not working. We would consider that it's more urgent repairs. And again, we are prioritizing seniors and individuals with disabilities. Some examples of the projects include accessibility modifications, carpentry improvements, plumbing, and other. So next slide, please. Great. So more detail on eligibility. This is a program for low and moderate income individuals. So moderate income is defined as 80% of the area median income. And you'll see the income criteria here on the screen. If you're looking at the screen, it's on the right, and it goes by number of people that live in the household. And the home must be owner occupied. So historically, we have offered programs for improvements to rentals. But these two are specifically for owner-occupied units. And it's not just for single-family homes. It can be for someone that lives in a condo or in a building or complex as long as they own the unit. We are doing this first come, first serve, but again, with a certain priority for certain demographics. And I am here tonight to ask for your help because we have had a very slow start to this program. As I mentioned, it's a very small pool of funding, and we have not had any applications. Oh, wow. We launched a couple of months ago. I don't believe that we are lacking need. We're just not reaching the right people. Our program administrator, despite our best efforts to conduct outreach, our program administrator has gone door knocking. He's gone flyering at the food bank, Dine and Connect, which provides takeaway meals. And typically these resources you will find homeowners that have been in their home for a long time who cannot afford repairs or safety repairs. We are also presenting at the Massac Senior Center. I'm here tonight. So we are really trying to get the word out for this program. So you all, if you have like groups you think it would be great for us to reach out to, or you yourselves would like to reach out to a group, please do. Next slide, please. So the application is not online. You need to reach out for an application. You can call the number for our program administrator, which is here on the screen. You can email them, and I've also gone ahead and included my work email address. So if anyone is having any sort of issue reaching the program administrating or getting an application, you can reach me directly. And that's what I have for you all. Any questions? Or I'm not sure where we are in the process.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, it's open for clarifying questions.
Great. So how much money is there in the pot?
So it is five $5,000 grants and one $15,000 loan.
Okay, so it's pretty small.
Yes,
Okay.
and yet untapped.
Untapped. And a follow-up question, so this is a HUD, a federal grant, the money comes from the federal government?
That's right. It is federally funded through CDBG, as it has been for many years.
Okay. Are there concerns about this funding going away, or about conditions being placed on this funding that may not be consistent with our community's values?
Yeah, so that's a great question. CDBG is actually one of the programs that's being looked at to be cut in the next fiscal budget cycle. But as of now, for this round, this money has no risk of, as I'm aware, there hasn't been any warning or heads up about this money that we already have allocated to this program of being clawed back. Yeah, so I should also expand on that. So yes, we are worried about CDBG in the future, and there are advocacy efforts that are happening currently to hopefully stop that.
And a follow-up question for this, okay, are there conditions being placed on the funds this year in terms of who can have it, or are they?
No.
They're not, okay.
No, same HUD requirements in terms of what it can be spent on or income criteria, but nothing additional.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, and I mean it in a generous spirit, but why isn't it posted online, the application?
You know, that's a great question. Our program administrator typically, so they are the ones running the program, and they're the ones who are running the application process, and it is their process to send the application. But if you all believe that that's a barrier, we can push for that.
I'm just curious, it seems, this is me. Again, I'm like, I mean this in a generous spirit. I don't mean it as a criticism, but if you're not having any applicants, it seems like a pretty low-hanging fruit option to expand the pool and even just post it as a PDF, or, you know, or a blurb about it, which may already exist, but it just may increase awareness, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's a good question. We're going to be meeting with the program administrator to talk about, I mean, I meet with them every other week to brainstorm outreach. We haven't really pushed on the application, but yeah, it does seem like a pretty glaring thing that,
And we also know someone who does a newsletter that might be helpful.
Who doesn't use what?
A newsletter to the.
Oh, you do a
yes.
newsletter? Oh, great. That's why I brought my notebook up here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I know I'll be very transparent, and I'll claim it's because we have a new member of the commission, but the distinction between clarifying questions and substantive questions troubles me, or like I'm challenged by it. So if we're going too far afield, I'm open to feedback on that. Okay.
Are there any other clarifying questions that typically don't have a statement attached?
Go ahead, Kathy. No, go ahead.
You mentioned it's first come, first serve. Is that to mean that it's like a rolling disbursement? Or how are you going to prioritize seniors and people with disabilities if it's first come, first serve? I'm confused about how that process would work.
Yeah, so originally our expectation was that we may have gotten multiple applications within like a certain time period, and then as we assess them, we look at who the applicant was. Currently, because we don't have any formal applicants, it's hard to say. But we are very much doing targeted outreach to those two groups.
Hi. Appreciate what you're doing here. I'm, couple things. I'm not surprised you're not getting any response from the food bank or from Dine and Connect, because most of those people are either homeless or low income and renters. So you have very, very few people that are going there that are homeowners. Now, at Mastic Senior Center, you may have some seniors possibly that are homeowners, but I do Dine and Connect and I do the food bank. I never saw anything, I never heard anything about this, so this was interesting. And 87,000 as your one person low income, that's a great income. I would wish I was 87,000 for one person, you know what I mean? So I'm surprised that it's kind of that high, actually. But definitely I agree with what she said, is it needs to be online,
Yeah.
because, you know, the places that you're going to is kind of futile in that regard. I mean, you know, God bless if if they're for renters, yes. I mean, but, you know, the Dine and Connect serves the homeless people or low income, and the food bank serves very low income, and 95% of those people are renters.
Yeah, so in Housing and Human Services, we actually work very closely with the Dine and Connect group and with the Alameda Food Bank. I agree with you, Dine and Connect was definitely a reach, but we did speak with the program manager first before going to the food bank. Their impression was that they did have a large swath of homeowners, or some population of it, but
What, Teal or Patty
no,
at the food bank?
Josh.
Oh, Josh, okay. Right.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure if there was a question there that I needed
No,
to
I was
answer.
just surprised, because it is a small amount. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, of
I agree.
homeowners, yeah, you know, so. But seniors, definitely, there are definitely disabled and seniors, you know, also in both of those categories. Right. So.
Are there any further clarifying questions?
In terms of the program for renters, was it advertised in a different way, or is this the same mechanism that you had used previously for the other program?
I think there was even less advertisement for the renters. I think there was just more renters that meet the income criteria.
That was a
Is my
well-utilized
suspicion.
program. Yeah, okay.
Could you remind me again of the contact information that you provided? Whose phone number, and could I see the email address again, please?
Yeah, can I just give you all my card? Would that be?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Can I leave
can
with
give me
them?
one.
Who is the program director?
So I am the program manager that manages this program. And I work with a program administrator who's actually supposed to be doing the outreach and the application process and the repairs and the entire process. But I'm personally just taking extra steps because I want to see this program get off the ground. Yeah.
Thank you.
And how long's it kind of been out there?
Only a couple months.
But not one, not,
It would have like set off the floodgates.
but not one applicant?
No.
Interesting.
Or
Hmm.
we've gotten inquiries.
Yeah, I have a question, and it kind of follows on to you being here tonight, so thank you for bringing this to our attention. Like, you can tell we're all like a little intrigued, and, you know, this is very interesting and like definitely hits right in the middle of a lot of issues we talk about every other month. And on that note, have you gone to other city agencies? I'm also thinking like first responders, and I'm like, who are the people kind of in that moment who like really need this assistant? Like, it's become a critical issue that, you know, maybe somebody had to call 911 because they fell in the bathroom, and like, you know what I mean? Like, do we have the awareness among those people interfacing in those kind of critical moments? It might be, I mean, it's hard to like engineer that ahead of time, but it's just a thought that occurred to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did So yes, I have been reaching out to a few of our other departments in the city, one being the planning department on their permit website to include the information in case somebody's trying to make repairs, but they need financial assistance. This specific, it used to be called the Safety Home Program or Home Safety Program. A couple of years ago, it was very similar. The fire department, we actually used to, they function essentially as our program administrator. I've been here about a year, so I'm not sure why that changed, but they are aware of the program. I'm not sure if they're aware it's still around, so that's a good idea to reach out to them as well for a refresher.
Yeah, and I don't know where things stand, but Commissioner Hall, I was like, you've been here long enough. You'll remember we've had a lot of conversations about community engagement. You know, sometimes de-emphasizing police and having other social service members or community members, and I don't know if there's a particular subset of responders or, you know, folks who are paying attention to populations in potential crisis, or, you know, the whole goal, or I'm curious about the whole goal of trying to help people age at home, or, you know, stay in their home and trying to make sure the home is a safe place. So I feel like this is just the tip of an iceberg of a topic that very interesting.
Have you
Hopefully we can
reached,
help. Yeah, go
have
ahead.
you reached out to like social workers? I wonder about like anybody at the
Yeah,
hospital
exactly.
who
Yeah.
might
Oh,
be
that's
seeing
a
this
good-
patient population when they come in because they have a medical need, or the library?
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah.
So in our division, we also manage the social service contracts in the city. So we work closely with Alameda Family Services,
see.
with the food bank, with Building Futures, with we don't provide a contract to the library, but I also facilitate a group called CARES with different providers of different services, resources in the community. I've sent it to that list as well. I don't know, maybe you all were the folks I was missing, hopefully.
I was going to say the CARES program, you know, but that's more on responding on mental health and other issues. But that's done quite well the last few years,
Yeah.
actually. But it's kind of a different ballgame.
And are there like flyers posted in those locations, like on library billboards and places like that?
No, but that may be another good step. I'm a millennial. I was avoiding like going places, but that might be the
I
next
wonder if
thing.
that's what it might take, just like if you find a billboard, put it up there.
Yeah.
Well, the food bank has a billboard.
Yeah,
Did
they
you- did you-
told me they posted it, but
Oh, they
maybe I
did.
need a reminder or
Well,
they
I'm going to
forgot.
check when
Yeah.
I go,
I
huh?
should have brought flyers.
I'll
Oh my
give
gosh.
Josh a hard time then. if you
Yeah,
get-
give
if
him a
it-
hard time. Why
I
did he tell us
will,
there were
if
so
it's
many
not up there.
homeowners? He said
Yeah.
you're going to get them all in one visit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I'll admit that when I was reviewing before this meeting, I did read about this program, and I thought, wow, that's great. I never knew anything like that existed, and I thought it had been around for a while, and I just hadn't seen it. Do you have any thoughts as to why it hasn't caught traction?
You know, as I'm talking through it with you all, and I was looking at the history of this program, it has been for renters for a very long time. And I think that they decided to try something new. I wasn't here when it was switched. I'm assuming because a need appeared when they were mostly doing repairs for renters or also landlords would be able to use this for renters as long as the building was as long as the majority met the income criteria. And so I'm assuming that this is the first year in a long time that they've potentially switched to just for homeowners. And we're not, you know, we have like the same groups we've always reached out to, and potentially those are just not the right groups.
And I'm sorry, just one more question. Thank you for your card. I still don't know who the 644-8979 number belongs to.
That is the program admin. So the program admin, I keep calling them program administration. They are Rebuilding Together East Bay Network. That's their phone number.
Okay, thank you.
Because you could reach out to me, and what I'll do is make sure that they give you an application. But they're just a more direct contact.
There is an informal network of all the executive directors of the nonprofits in Alameda, and I will pass this on to them. It might be a good presentation to have you come to speak about this. Also, the Alameda Post, I'm sure
Okay.
they would do an article about this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and in the Alameda Animal Shelter, where I'm the former CEO,
Oh.
we have a social worker on staff. Raquel Bernardo, and I'm going to give her this information as well. And I think she does a lot of interfacing with people that could probably benefit from these funds. One more question. Sorry, clarifying. So the loan program, it says up to 15,000. What are the repayment terms, and how does that work?
I would have to get back to you about that.
Okay.
But it tends to be what we would call like a soft loan. So I think it would be low interest, longer timeline.
Okay.
But I know I'm on the record, so I'm going to have to get back to you on the details.
And I assume you've made social media posts.
I've requested them. I should confirm they've happened.
And the financial and technical assistance, is that actual expert advice, or is it, okay?
Yeah.
And is that what the funds would go to pay, or is that in addition to the,
It's in addition to the financial
Got it.
assistance.
okay. And are those staff people giving the financial and technical advice, or is it outsourced?
It's Rebuilding Together who would provide the technical
I
assistance.
see, okay. Is there any part of either program that, well, I don't want to complicate things, but involves like city waivers of permit fees, or, you know?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately. But I think for the smaller repairs, like the $5,000 grant, there shouldn't be too much need for permits if
Yeah.
it's like smoke detectors or inside grab bar type things. That's all I can think off the top of my head. But I would hope that for the smaller projects, there wouldn't be too much
Yeah.
need for permits.
I'm just thinking for the larger, like building a ramp, it can get pricey
Yeah.
in the permit front, so just something to think about.
And I have one more clarifying question. Can the money be used for, it's home repairs, but can it be used for, like, durable medical equipment?
No, I've checked.
Okay.
And that's a HUD thing. We can't per HUD. Because the logic, I guess that's the best word I can think of, is that it's not something that would stay with the structure of the home. It could be taken away when they moved on.
Thank you so much. Anything?
If there aren't any more clarifying questions, I'm just going to ask if there's any public comment, since we have a member of the public here. Did you have a comment or question?
Hello, Carol Gottstein, a new member of the Mastic Board of Directors. I know about the program because I've been to Dine and Connect, and someone at that program gave me the flyer for it. But I was kind of surprised. I haven't seen it in any of the Mastic publications, not in the newsletters, or it's not on the website, of course. And I'm not sure whether the person who specializes in social services is telling people about it or not, but it isn't widely publicized at Mastic. Thanks.
Thank you.
Maybe the fact that it's a loan and not, I mean, it's phrased as a grant, and normally when you think of a grant, you think of free money, a grant is free money. And this is a loan, and so many people that might be interested are like, oh, well, I can't afford to pay a loan back anyway, so that might be part of the reason you're not getting the applications.
I'm confused. I thought it was 5,000 as grants and 15,000 as the loan. Is that true? Yeah. So only loan part is the 15,000. The grants are basically grants, not to be paid back.
Right.
Got it. Thank you.
Just the one part, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's it for public comment. Thank you. And then if there's any other commissioner questions or comments at this time, you're welcome to be a little more open-ended with what you share according to this agenda item.
I want to make sure we make a formal friendly suggestion. Like, this definitely seems suitable for the newsletter you've been putting out. So I think it would be great.
Thank you all for your time. This has seriously been invaluable to me. So I will probably be personally going to some of these places to make sure those flyers are there and posted. And it was good to hear the feedback. And hopefully, yeah, maybe I'll come back and report back to you all how it's going in a few months.
If you have a PDF copy of the flyer,
I do. I was just going to ask if I send it to you, Lillian. Can they? Okay. And it is publicly accessible on our website, for the record.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that will close that agenda item since that was just informational. We will move forward to the next agenda item, the ADA Transition Plan Annual Update, which I am presenting. So just a moment, please. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lillian Jewell. I'm the ADA Coordinator for the City of Alameda, and I'm here to present this evening the first annual update for the ADA Self-Assessment and Transition Plan that the City of Alameda enacted last year in June. It was adopted by Council. Okay, I'm just going to hope I push the right button. Okay. So early stage implementation. This just means that from the time of adoption in June 2024 until about January or February of 2025, it was all of the early stage planning and development. It's a huge undertaking to have a robust, holistic self-evaluation turned into a transition plan and then put those elements in action to take those first steps. So 3 primary points of that are the creation of the job description, an application process, hiring process for the ADA coordinator, of which I'm the benefactor, and then the facilities team in our Public Works Department was also expanded with 2 new project managers within the last 1.5 to 2 years, both with the intention of creating a larger team to facilitate the physical site improvements of the city-owned facilities, and also coordination with the city attorney and the office to create the sidewalk repair program and its corresponding letter for property owners, which was a huge project as well. And that's a pilot project that launched in January, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So tonight, I just want to cover, do a bit of a high-level overview of 5 core areas that are part of the ADA transition plan. Within any of these, we'll highlight some specifics, but I don't want to get too deep into the nitty-gritty so that we're not here until midnight. But there's definitely room for future in-depth presentations on any of these topics or specific initiatives that we discuss this evening. So those 5 will be community engagement, departmental engagement, physical site improvements, infrastructure improvements, and program improvements. And just a reminder that the ADA transition plan and ADA as it relates to the City of Alameda is all under the Title II side of the ADA. So first is community engagement. I wanted to present this just with under the umbrella of the monthly digital newsletter, the Accessibility in Alameda. We launched it in April, and since then we've adopted almost 300 new subscribers purely just through spreading it, word of mouth, at the bottom of my email signature, shared at other points of the city. And there's just over 2,000 subscribers. We're at a 30% open rate, which I would love to see, of course, increase, but 30% for a kind of niche newsletter is fairly good, especially in the starting months. In this newsletter, I feature local relevant events, local organizations that are participating or collaborating with the City of Alameda in events and projects, Also, some transition plan information updates, especially related to the sidewalk program or site improvements, invitations to the community to provide feedback or stories, which currently is to share your ADA impact story, hoping to collect some first and secondhand experience-based stories from people in Alameda about the impact of the ADA, since this month is the 35th anniversary. And then also hoping to gather guest spots, guest features from commissioners of this commission and other city staff and departments to just highlight programs they're working on, such as what we just heard about with Gracia's programs, and other things that would be relevant to the community impacted by disabilities. Departmental engagement. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. So we have our quarterly interdepartmental meeting, which is representatives from relevant departments that are within the transition plan that we meet. We're called the Accessibility Review Team. And we basically discuss what's going on in the city of Alameda, how we can better support one another, where we're at in the transition plan, and who's responsible for what. It gives people a chance to collaborate, to discuss. And at our last meeting, for instance, we did an interactive website training where we talked about website and digital accessibility, which is a huge point of accessibility within Title II. When our buildings are not huge, like widely accessible, at least our website can be, or at least our printed formats can be. So that's part of what we're talking through, is how to make everything as accessible as possible within our department offerings. And then also other collaboration with departments such as Recreation and Parks, which is a big focus of theirs is, of course, physical sites, but also standardizing their practices, some training for their team members, including their admin offices, as well as summertime training for summer staff and things like that. Long-term plans for increased inclusion in their services and events. So there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of exciting collaboration for Rec and Parks. The library department, back in March, I had a meeting with their librarian team, and we discussed how the librarians and the different elements of the library are reaching people with disabilities and making things more inclusive. And so that meeting resulted in, I highlighted it here, our Autism Acceptance Month display at the main library. We worked together to curate a list of books and different resources that they could feature in their children's department at the main library branch, which was really sweet. We had some authors who are autistic and were also featured on this display. Other collaborative elements have been within IT and website departments. This is just like it sounds, working with the tech departments to figure out how we can make our website as a whole more accessible, and really prioritizing what the website looks like, what the content is, how we're presenting that content, et cetera. And the planning, building, transportation. This is just like it sounds, coordinating with this department on physical improvements to intersections, building codes, universal design ordinances, how we're working together to communicate these to the city, and then code enforcement and permits. This specifically is related to some help with resident calls that have come in where they're requesting support for, which is back to the community engagement side, they're requesting support for questions about their housing that's not maintained by any government voucher or government program, but is purely a private housing situation. They'd like assistance with how to make it more accessible. And also permits related to events that are hosted in Alameda. So these might be events hosted by city departments, or they might be outside organizations that are using city facilities to host a fun temporary event. And so the permitting process for that can often have a lot of hiccups just because there's not a clear standardized policy and procedure for making those events accessible between the permitting department and the Rec and Park department, for instance, who tends to run those physical events. And so this is just collaborating to create more of those standardized practices and better understanding amongst teams. To physical site improvements, at the time of the ADA self-evaluation, there were 58 sites and facilities that were assessed. This includes parking garages, dog parks, parks in general, bathrooms, the city hall buildings, the libraries, et cetera. So anything that the city owns and maintains was a part of this assessment. It was divided into 5 phases of structural improvements through fiscal year 2032 and 33. And if for reference, I included the ADA transition plan. Of course, it's been publicly published for a year, but this is, you can find the schedule of these phases on pages 39 and 40. And then just tonight, I'll just feature a few highlights of active projects, not necessarily going over all 58. So within phase 1, one of the first ones, the highest priority was Mastic Senior Center. You can see on here, there's 2 graphics I've included. The top graphic is gray with some green and red dotted pathways throughout. This is both of these graphics are provided by the architectural design firm. So please keep in mind, these are preliminary, completely in still the design phase. But the top graphic indicates an accessible path of travel shown with the green dot. So this would be a clearly marked and accessible, consistently accessible path throughout the Mastic Senior Center grounds. Any red dots means that area it would be inaccessible just because by the nature of its design. So that it might be inaccessible not because all of the doors are blocked off, but because let's say the doorway threshold is the incorrect height or there's no power button or something on that side of the building, for instance. The bottom graphic shows the phased construction preliminary design proposal. The project manager for this project in our Facilities Department and Public Works, she has worked with an architectural design firm with quite extensive ADA experience, who then developed this phased construction. So phase 1, for instance, would likely be the full parking lot and the paths of travel surrounding that area, as well as the bathrooms that are most often used, so the multi-stall bathrooms, and the rooms that are highlighted in yellow. But again, this is completely preliminary. Phase 2, for instance, would be the offices and things like that. So one of the goals with Mastic Senior Center is that after construction, it will have the social hall, which is currently active and rented and well used. But the social hall is the newest facility of the Mastic Senior Center. It also includes a bathroom and a kitchenette. And so the hope is that the social hall, the bathroom, and the kitchenette can be upgraded just enough to the point where they are fully compliant with ADA guidelines for the new 2010 design guidelines, and therefore would be a fully accessible, rentable space for all kinds of events for people of all abilities in Alameda. So since Mastic is a really popular zone, a popular site, this room, this large space would be a great opportunity for the city to collaborate, to provide and promote this event space and amenity to the city. So as of right now, just to reiterate, that the city maintenance team has already addressed many barriers at Mastic that were easily addressed by the city maintenance team without hiring subcontractors. So this is 131 of the noted 423 barriers have been addressed. This included door force, the bathroom accessory placement, signage, et cetera, so smaller things like that. There is a contract that was awarded to this architectural firm, and they are now in the design phase, as you can see. And then a construction request for proposal will likely be issued in fiscal year 25-26. So within this now new fiscal year, we're excited to say that we will likely be able to start at least the construction awarding phase. One program accessibility note I wanted to make about Mastic, in addition to the social hall notes I already made, is that ARPD offices there, and so does paratransit, and they provide versions of their services that are easily accessible to the community, such as registration, printed brochures, assistance with understanding the documentation, things like that. Veterans Memorial Building. This is another beloved building in Alameda. It has quite a few barriers and full of character. And so at Veterans, they host ARPD activities. We play the veterans groups and their meetings. Alameda reads, and they also have a rentable event space, which is photographed here. So there are 3 photos on this slide. One of them, the top left, is the newly refurbished bathroom to be single-user ADA compliant. So some fixtures surrounding the toilet were removed to create turning radius, and also some of the other accessories within the bathroom were repurposed or moved around, replaced to be ADA compliant. And then the top right photo just shows the entrance to that bathroom. And the bottom photo is the auditorium with the newly refinished floors. It also has now heaters, and it's a work in progress. So there's still some accessibility notes within this, but there's just little cosmetic things that are taking place right now. So as of right now, it is the building as a whole is entering the design phase for a high potential kitchen, which a dining room, and then of course the corresponding paths of travel. So all of these elements would take place on the basement or ground floor, which is also the one that is easiest to access using the exterior ramp access. So if for some reason the elevator were out of commission, this basement floor would still have all amenities available to the public. There are also plans to add 2 designated street parking spaces that will have access aisles and be clearly marked and reserved for accessible parking immediately in front of the building, which provides the shortest path of travel to the exterior access ramp as well. And then one program accessibility note for this building is that Alameda Reads, which meets on the 3rd floor. And so again, if you have an issue with the elevator or gaining physical access to Alameda Reads, they do make it clear on their website, as well as on their initial intakes by phone, that they provide off-site meetings for physical accessibility. So they have had several tutor and reader duos who have met at different off-site locations that were more accessible to the reader. Next is City Hall. This one is very much in the preliminary phase as well. They are soliciting comprehensive design assessment. This project manager has currently been working on just signage updates to correct the tactile element placement on the signs, as well as contrast and size and text type. The stairs in City Hall were also just recently repainted and retreaded, which was not necessarily a part of an ADA barrier, but still provides a more safe experience. And then Washington Park is another one that's in progress. This one has only been addressed so far in the restrooms and the physical spaces. 160 of 546 present barriers have been addressed. So bathroom fixtures were fixed, pipes were insulated, and the rec center, which is the other building that's on the Washington Park site, will begin its renovation in this fiscal year 25-26. Okay, and then 2 other ones that just have really quick updates for them is Harbor Bay Ferry Terminal. The design is completed to fix all of the accessible parking issues and the ADA upgrades to the business park shuttle bus stops as well. There will be additional accessible parking spaces added to the parking lot, and it's getting a reconfiguration for how the parking is laid out. And City Council will consider construction contract award at their July 15th meeting for Harbor Bay Ferry Terminal. Civic Center parking garage is also in the process of design, and City Council will consider their construction contract award at their September meeting, in hopes that barrier improvements there will be related to the elevator, more accessible spaces, and the placement of them, as well as paths of travel. Okay, that's a lot about physical sites. Infrastructure improvements. So I noted here that I just want to mainly highlight the sidewalk repair program tonight, but there are also additional updates in curb ramp repairs and additions. You can find this on page 22 of the transition plan, where it mentions the curb ramp program that was set to take place. I believe it was last fiscal year through the next couple of fiscal years. And so the funding has been confirmed for that, and it will go out to bid for a $200,000 bid for construction in the next few months. And if you remember from the transition plan, those curb ramps were scored from 0 to 5, 0 being non-existent when they needed to be, and 5 being great, top-notch curb ramps. So thankfully, Alameda has almost 54% of our curb ramps were scored at a 5, but still obviously quite a few curb ramps that we want to make sure are compliant with accessibility. And then continuing intersection improvements with our city engineers team. We've heard about a lot of these here at the commission meetings. So these might be additional roundabouts, signalized intersections, or just improvements that way. You can find some of that verbiage in the transition plan on page 24. So for the sidewalk repair program, there's 2 elements to it. The first one is the sidewalk repairs that can be fixed easily using concrete cutting or saw grinding. And this is just to eliminate already over 10,000 tripping hazards with just a simple procedure in this photo here. You can see a worker is using a saw grinder to cut down concrete. This levels out the transition from square to square so that there's not an uneven lip between the two. So basically they just cut it way down and even those up. So it's considered a temporary fix. It usually lasts about 3 to 5 years. Often these are caused because of tree roots, because of Alameda's beautiful tree canopy. And so this is not considered a long-time fix, but it is a workable fix that removes barriers on these pathways for many of our residents. And so already I said 10,000 tripping hazards have been removed, which was a $1 million investment. And so this side of the project is already completed around all city sites. We've nearly finished the main streets, specifically Park, Webster, and other high pedestrian areas. And then in this next fiscal year, 25-26, we will start to remove tripping hazards in the socially vulnerable neighborhoods, which were documented in the transition plan as well. So as of right now, we stand at almost 2 miles of sidewalks repaired in this way, which is a huge thing if we add it all up. So that's exciting. And to find out about these sidewalks that need to be repaired, we often go off of See-Click Fix requests, direct community engagement, and of course our self-evaluation did a lot of the mapping for this side of the program. The bottom image on this slide shows a map where it's with many, many red dots indicating where those hazards were removed. The second side of the sidewalk repair program is the PO side, which stands for property owner. This is the pilot program that launched in January 2025. We find out about sidewalks that need repairs through See-Click Fix requests, as well as direct engagement with community members. They might email me directly and say, I'm concerned about this sidewalk here. We have attempted to do a sidewalk repair program for property owners in the past, but there was little to no participation or compliance. So in this version of the program, we've seen a significant increase in participation. That's likely because we offer a collaborative approach where they can opt in to have the contractor hired by the city do the work, and they are only paying as a property owner for the supplies. And then the city covers the cost of labor or any additional costs. It may be news to you, hopefully not. It's kind of a bad surprise sometimes, but as property owners in Alameda and throughout most of California, you are also responsible to maintain and repair the sidewalk in front of your property. And so that's what this program is about. It's about working with property owners to make sure that the sidewalks that everyone uses in front of their homes are safe and accessible for all kinds of users. The definition of sidewalk is from the clear property line or end of yard to the edge of the curb. And so anything within that realm is considered sidewalk, which is kind of an umbrella term. It could mean your driveway approach. It could mean a little planter strip where you've got little shrubs. And of course, obviously it means the clear path of travel sidewalk for pedestrians and other people using mobility devices. So since January, we've had about 221 property owners that we've engaged with notifications of the estimate completed at their property by our inspectors. Over 130 of those property owners have participated in the program in some way. So they've submitted the agreement to either say, yes, I want your contractor to do it, or 7 of them said, I'm going to hire my own contractor and get my own permits. We've also had 19 people apply for financial hardship, which just means that the city will cover 25 to 100% of the fees if they qualify. And we started invoicing in May with 97 sent to finance or they've been paid. So far we've invoiced just over $150,000 worth of work, and we've received just over $76,000 back in payments from property owners. That's about 9,000 square feet of sidewalks, plus additional driveway measurements, curb and gutter, conform. So a lot of work happening around the city. I'm sure, I mean, there's construction everywhere on the roads and things, but I'm sure maybe you've spotted the teams doing sidewalks in front of homes and things. So that's a part of this project. So top right photo, we've got some super damaged, crumbling sidewalk there. And then the bottom photos, you can see a before and an after submitted by a very happy resident. Okay. Program improvements. I just wanted to highlight a few of these. One of the greatest emphasis within Title II ADA compliance is the programmatic compliance. So often if facilities or physical sites are difficult to get up to full ADA compliance because of infeasibility, historic nature of buildings, et cetera, cost, then we can absolutely excel in accessibility when it comes to programs. So just a couple of things that have happened in the last year within this is the reasonable accommodations and grievance procedures are both publicly posted and available for residents to submit online, whether they download the form or fill it out online. There is a grievance procedure posting. You may have seen it in the elevator on your way up here in City Hall. And it's posted at multiple city buildings that just states, if you have an ADA issue, if you would like to file a grievance, please contact us, and here's how you can do it. My contact information is posted everywhere as well. That's part of the ADA, is making sure that they have a clear point of contact. And so that's another one of the points here for program improvements, is that having a clear ADA coordinator who can help facilitate any concern or redirect effectively is super helpful as well to ensure program accessibility. Our Human Resources Department added a workplace violence policy to the employee manual, which is part of ADA Title II. And then overarching a larger theme here of effective communication. This is working with departments to figure out how to ensure their documents are easy to either use because they're clear communication, concise, easier language, or maybe they're easier to translate into different languages. Effective communication also can be translation services, ASL interpreters for events, ensuring that I mentioned those temporary events that are hosted by the city, ensuring that we have signage that makes it clear for any user of any ability to access that event, understand the lay of the land or the schedule, those sorts of things. So ensuring that everyone is having a mindset of more than just one way to communicate. We want to hit every sensory option we can within that. And then event planning Alameda again. So I'm working with the one of the gentlemen in the code enforcement team to create an event planning guide so that, again, as I mentioned before, there's standardized practices for when you host an event. You'll have a checklist as part of your permitting process to ensure that you've considered, key areas of event planning. So that's in the works, as well as other projects with other departments. And then finally, this is just a what's next slide. So coming up in the next fiscal year, 25-26, these were the highlighted components within the transition plan. So of course, sidewalk repair program will continue. Phase 1, built world projects are still continuing. As you noticed, we had several in the design phase as opposed to the complete construction phase. And there are some parts of the phase 1 schedule for building that have not yet begun. Phase 2, because of that, will be funded at a slightly lower level than proposed, not necessarily meaning that phase 2 projects will be scratched off or crossed off, but that for this next fiscal year, we're not able to tackle all of phase 2 because we're wrapping up what's in phase 1. Continued website accessibility improvements and standardized practices, development of emergency preparedness plans for people with disabilities in Alameda. So this is working with the Alameda Fire Department, who are also, they're currently in the process of updating their emergency preparedness plans for Alameda. So just trying to find ways to better engage with our disabled community and ensure that we have a mindset of protection and preparedness for them as well. continue to work with city departments for program access and policies. And then lastly, standardized practices within human resources for document accessibility as well as job descriptions. One common barrier that was noted is that job descriptions need to have the essential duties and non-essential duties. So working within HR to better finesse those job descriptions. So this is not necessarily all I'm working on as the ADA coordinator, but this is, again, these are the things that were highlighted in the transition plan for this next fiscal year. Okay, that was my last slide. So we'll open it up for clarifying questions.
One great presentation,
Oh,
really,
thanks.
it's really great, thank you. And it's an amazing amount of work you've got on your plate. You talked a little bit about website accessibility. Are the websites for the city, are those done internally or do you contract that service out?
Yes, great question. So our website, it's kind of both are a yes. So our website is hosted by a platform called Open Cities, which by default is accessible according to the WCAG standards. They just recently updated their adherence to WCAG 2.1 AA. That just means accessibility guidelines. And so that's great. That means by default, the templates, the font choices, the color choices, contrasts, et cetera, the ways that we can embed links or videos, those are all going to be accessible according to standardized guidelines. However, the flip side of that is that the content of the website itself is completely handled internally by each department. So there's not a clear website creator or content creator that's standardized at Alameda. It's every department that doing their own. So one of the things that I'm working with different departments on is how to reconfigure their layouts, their language, some of the ways that we access the content that's stored on the website. It's quite a project, but that was our last interdepartmental meeting for the art team. That was what we talked about, was website accessibility. So I think we're going to head in the right direction for sure.
I have a clarification question. On the map that you showed of all the sidewalk repairs, there was a big red cluster in Bay Farm, and I was just curious about why there was so much activity in that one area when you kind of talked about high-use areas.
Yeah, great question. So because this map was only the sidewalk grinding. So Bay Farm has a lot of tree growth and a lot of sidewalks that are not necessarily deteriorating, but are able to be fixed using that methodology. Also, this was looking at all city sites as well as high pedestrian areas. And so for whatever reason, that was extremely concentrated in that area. And then socially vulnerable neighborhoods were the next phase of fixing using the grinding to fix sidewalks. And so that might bring us a little more into Alameda proper and different zones within the island. But you're right, it is concentrated pretty heavily in Bay Farm. So.
And a follow-up question, is there an option for renters, or is it kind of the see-click fix the mechanism for them to get something that's local to where they live?
So renters, of course, can participate. So because it's property owner requirement, meaning that property owners are responsible for maintaining the sidewalk that they have agreed to maintain in front of the property that they own. Renters don't have responsibility for that. But if a renter wanted to report a sidewalk in front of their home, absolutely. We've had many multi-family units or fixtures that we've worked with either the property owner company or an out-of-state owner to fix in that region. So thankfully, using county records and different records, we have access to property owners as a list, and then that way the tenants can benefit from the program without having to worry about the cost. So,
what's the protocol? However the awareness comes to the city, whether it's see-click fix or part of the self-assessment, but there's a problematic sidewalk identified. does the city wait until there's an agreement on who's going to pay what and, you know, the property owner has acknowledged and confirmed before the work happens? Or are there times where it's a, you know, a real tripping hazard or a real impediment to mobility, and the city just goes ahead and fixes it and figures out, you know, who's accountable for what later?
Yes, so there's two ways that that question can be answered. So I brought a version of the letter, you know, low tech, blacked it out with Sharpie for the address information, but on the letter, it does state that if we don't hear from you by such and such date, so we do require a response within 21 days. So property owners receive first notification. It has to be mailed, the first notification, and then within 8 days, they get a second notification. If we don't hear from them within 21 days, then we usually watch the work order. I don't usually move them to this next step that fast, but there is an enforcement option. So it does state in here that if they don't respond within the right amount of time, that they can be moved to enforcement, and then we will invoice them after the work is completed. So it's possible that they can be silent and not participate in the program, and then because we're aware, the bottom line is because we're aware of the sidewalk integrity issue or the tripping hazard, we then feel liable and responsible for making sure that it's fixed. So that means that we will go out and we will fix it, and then we will bill them after that. So there is that option. And then can you run me the first part of your question? Sorry. I think there were two options within that.
Well, I was just wondering, like, regardless of how the complaint comes or the awareness happens,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, so I think you've answered my question.
Okay.
I was curious whether there's this administrative period that delays repair, you know, or just kind of understanding, you know, it seems like it's a very methodical, deliberate approach to trying, you know, to triage and, you know, be responsive. But so I was curious whether there's this built-in inevitable delay, you know, while that gets resolved between the property owner, bringing them along on the journey of their responsibility and needing to pay for it.
Yes. For sure. There is a bit of a delay just because we are relying on property owners to participate in the program and be responsive, at least in some capacity. But for the most part, as we're able to, you know, gain agreements to participate in the program and add them to the contractor list, we can keep a contractor moving, you know, pretty steadily throughout the different neighborhoods that are signed up for the program. Another part of, you know, another tricky part of it is that because we are going so much off of reports and requests.
Kind of anecdotal.
Yeah, we're not necessarily going like street by street with our inspector team and painting entire, you know, swaths of sidewalk block by block. So in that way, we are doing a lot all over the place. You know, our contractors do the best they can to make it as efficient as they can with kind of the sporadic nature of the layout. But at some point in the future, we might be able to incorporate that type of work where inspectors can go out and just do total canvassing, but as of right now, it's based on requests. One other thing I wanted to mention, I just remembered to your first question about notification and things like that is, and just the response or engagement. Another part of this program that's a little unique from other cities in California is that we do offer, if a city tree that Alameda planted and we're in charge of is causing the damage to the sidewalk, then the property owner is not responsible for paying the cost of those repairs. So if there's a clear causation from a tree to the sidewalk damage, then we will, you know, we'll remove that cost for those repairs or a portion of it or whatever the case may be. So we have had other property or owners as well where we've collaborated with them and confirmed that it was a tree root and then adjusted accordingly. So we try to be, you know, a little bit helpful in that way as well.
That's fair. Yeah, that's great.
And a question about that. So you talked about the tree canopy, and it is beautiful in Alameda, but a lot of the trees are problematic the way they were planted. So does this include tree removal when appropriate?
It can. So that's an arm of this program, is that by default, there will be a little bit of like a sidestep to possible tree removal, tree assessment, or maybe a larger conversation about, is this tree part of the urban forest plan? Or so we're collaborating with the urban forest team and, the department within Public Works that does trees to figure out how best to kind of unite the two programs so that if there's a question in one world, it can be answered, within both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And tree removal requests go through C-Click-Fix typically.
And I have one more question. Sorry to talk so much about sidewalks.
No, that's okay.
But I don't know if you mentioned this, how much is the average repair costing to the city and to the homeowner?
So I haven't done an average table quite yet, but we have had repairs invoiced in the range of $185 to $9,000. So it really depends. The rates that are used as part of the invoicing process were we chose the contractor based on lowest bids through a bidding process. And so the rates that are on an estimate table for a property owner are, they reflect the lowest bid numbers for supplies. There's no additional overhead in there, but the amounts can vary widely based on the type of work and the breadth of it. Our finance office does offer payment plans, and like I said, there's also the financial hardship component. So we have had several residents who have been able to qualify for financial hardship, and then the city is able to pay for 25 to 100% of those. As far as what the city is paying, I'm not sure exactly of what that is. It really depends. There have been some properties where we invoice a certain estimated amount, and then when the contractors get out there, it turns out that more work is needed, but we only will invoice what's in writing on the letter. And so there have been a few of those residences where we have also absorbed additional costs.
How is this program funded, and are you worried about running out of money?
So the program is funded through, I think it's Measure B and Measure BB, and there's more information on the sidewalks webpage, alamedaca.gov/sidewalks. So it's funded through several of those transportation measures that were passed by the public. And at this point, we're not worried about running out of funding. We're not at that stage that we need to reassess that. It's worked really well so far to have some of the costs absorbed or covered by property owners as part of their responsibility. And so far it's working well. But again, this is purely a pilot program, so it's not an official enforcement program quite yet. That will go before council at a later date. Any other clarifying questions?
A very good presentation.
Yes,
Oh,
very
thank
nice
you.
presentation.
Thank you. Any
Very
public
informative.
comments? Okay. And then any further, I'm going to go sit down, but any other comments or questions?
So what can we as commissioners do to help support this program, right? Like I do a lot of running and walking, and I trip a lot because it's just the nature of my disability. Should I be carrying my phone with me and start photographing those sites, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could report to C-Click-Fix. You could send me emails with photos and requests for repairs. You're welcome to just spread the word about it. However you'd like to communicate the sidewalk program out. I know that the word is spreading amongst a lot of Alameda because there's definitely a curiosity to kind of the responsibility component, as well as I would say an overall excitement that the sidewalks are getting attention. So that's good. But yeah, if you do have other questions, we can definitely do a more in-depth report about it at one of these commission meetings. But I think the more requests for C-Click-Fix or by email that come in, the better, because then we can really make a visible impact as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes that agenda item for the ADA transition
Put on your
update.
other hat.
We will now move to the commission bylaws review. Printed copies included the red line version of the edits, whereas the digital copy did not have the red text. But these edits reflect the conversation discussion had at the previous meeting. And this is a voting item to approve the new bylaws, so we'll take a vote at the end. Let's see, it's open to any questions, comments, or anything like that that may have been missed in the edits.
I totally agree. We voted to go from 9 to 7, and this question was answered before, but I don't remember. But on some of the other commissions, what's the amount of members that they have? Does it all vary? Like, say, the Shrub, or the Golf Commission, or the Park Commission, like, how many members do they have?
That's a great question. I can look that up really quickly. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Just, I mean, we were 9 members for a long, long time, and I think it often, things come up with people, and so it just seemed more feasible to have 7 than we only need 5 for a quorum. But I mean, city council has, what, 5, right? 5? Yeah. 6? 5, 6, including the mayor? Yeah. I was just curious. I meant to ask that before, and I just forgot. And who's technically our vice chair?
That is a great question. I don't know the answer.
That's a great question. Thank you. So now that we have 2 new commissioners, we will take a vote at the next meeting to have a vice chair. So normally we would have done that in January, but it didn't happen this year. So we'll do it next meeting. And then next January, we'll vote for chair, vice chair.
Can I ask a clarifying question for the bylaws? I can see the purpose section here on page 2. What would you call this section on the front page?
Our mission statement?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mission statement because since it wasn't part of the formal annotated, or not annotated, the numbered list of the, that's where I used a little bit of the language from the webpage to incorporate a couple of the things that the commission seemed to feel were missing from the purpose statement.
Great. And if I recall, in order to change the purpose of the commission, the city council has to approve that. So they'll go through and approve these changes, the red line changes?
So the purpose statement, as it's edited now, does not have to go before city council because the 3 main phrases that they wanted were the 3 main sentences in here: provide information, recommendations, et cetera, receives information regarding those, et cetera, and in no event shall the authority. So I think there were like key components that city council established, and we have to have those in there. But I did confirm that I could change a little bit of the language, so that's why I tried to remove some of those phrases in there without changing the meaning of the content.
Operative
Yeah.
uses, yeah.
Thank you.
don't think in the 8 years I've been here, we ever had a conflict of interest. Definitely can come up in some of the other commissions, but
Thank you. So you want us to pick a motion to adopt the revised bylaws?
Yes, if there's no further questions.
I have a question. So under the purpose, when it talks about what you just said, all those sentences, provide information and recommendations to city council, receive information regarding those with disability within the city of Alameda. How do we work within the other departments of the city of Alameda, like ARPD or the planning board or other places where we might have some insight and recommendations?
So there's two obvious ways that that could happen. The first way is that I communicate with them and I could take things from this commission to them directly, especially points of, I don't want to overuse the word advocacy, but, you know, maybe points of change or suggestions or points of interest that are coming up frequently, since you guys are community representatives. And then the second way would be that one thing that has been talked about in the past is to have some of our commissioners participate in other board or commission meetings so that you can be a voice representing this commission in that setting.
And I think that would be covered by this, there's kind of a catch-all over here in the officers,
Oh, okay.
like, section 4, part E, where additional duties, where the officers of the commission shall perform such other duties and functions as may be required from time to time by the commission. I don't know, I would make an argument that as a commission, if we decide to take it upon ourselves to do that liaising with the other boards or commissions, I would read that to cover that type of activity.
Okay.
That's my interpretation, yeah, but.
And we did do that, like, I was with housing and other people, you know, and you would attend other meetings. But the other way you're gonna find working with the other entities of the city is many times they're gonna come and present to us. They just wanna get our feedback before it goes to city council or wherever. They will come and present whatever they're doing, and then we can give them our input back.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, not to chime in, but tonight's presentation was a result of me reaching out to the housing department to ask if they had something they might want to share, and I was so glad that she offered to bring that information to us.
Do we participate in other commission meetings? Do we participate in other commission meetings? For example, I don't know, I can't think of.
Well, you
one
can
example.
go as
School
a,
board or.
Do other commissioner meetings have accessibility issues within their commission? That's what I'm wondering about. So, for example, the golf commission.
That's a great question. I would presume that it comes up, but I don't know if there's a clear line of thinking or action to address those questions. That's a great question. I mean, if we were to attend as members of the public to those commission meetings and then something was relevant and you could absolutely use the time for public comment or questions to maybe encourage that kind of cross-thinking, so.
and when Kathleen and I were the ones that attended the city appreciation event, and we met more people from the golf commission. I'm not kidding you. It was like, oh, you're with the golf commission. Oh, you're with the golf commission. It was like, oh, okay. That was nice.
Any other clarifying questions or comments, anything about the bylaws?
Just one more.
Yes, please.
So, do we also participate because this is all new to me, do we also participate in any kind of community education or community involvement? So that we are visible to the community in any respect, disabled, visible, invisible, or aging population, or just in general, so that they know we exist. Is that part of our duty?
So, yes, that is the hope, and the intention is that as we, step one is to just do a little feature in the newsletter. Step two is to do possibly participating in the police beat meetings, those community meetings. That would be an easy avenue that I'm looking into with them, so that we can talk about more than just neighborhood crime statistics, but they would love to feature elements related to accessibility and disability in Alameda. So there's a lot of ways that we can facilitate better community engagement, and that would absolutely go along in line with, the duties of the commission of representing. Yeah.
Can I address that just to some degree? Because it's been an ongoing issue that still in our little city, how many people don't even know we have a disability commission? Right, I mean, and other commissions too, but we've done things in the past, like we did the Park Street Fair. We had a booth, and different members, and through the years. And we did, at the Wood School many, many years ago, I forget exactly, it was put on by the Asian disability community, Asian, and I can't remember the exact name, but they did a whole event making the invisible visible. And they had speakers, and they had a couple of us commissioners were there, but open to the public, and it was just an engaging moment, and everybody was really, it was a really good feeling that we were actually getting the word out there, and disabled people came and spoke with us, and we felt, we were doing something good by putting the word out there. So yeah, there's been different things that have come up, like the Mastic Senior Center Fair and the Webster Fair, different things we've done in the past to get out there. But I think now that we have an ADA coordinator and a monthly newsletter, I think that's going to definitely
All
help.
coming together.
Yeah, right?
And can I ask about those events? Did those come about because the commissioners, were we asked to attend? Or was it like we had heard about an event and we self-organized?
I have a very old list. I don't know if Lillian has it, but like many of the things, the 4th of July parade, right there. But many of the things that we were like, do we want to do this? Do we not want to do this? And it would be which commissioners might be interested in doing it. And now we would reach out and say, yeah, we want to do this, or, or we'd hear about something like the Invisible Visible, event they had. They asked us. So, yeah, it's just different events that have come up, and, we're like, yeah, we want to get out there. We want to make the public aware that we are here and we want to help.
And then it's good when it's discussed at a meeting, because then we deal with the Brown Act aspect if it's multiple members, which I defer on some of the intricacies there, but yeah, it's good to post it.
And we're lucky we have our resident lawyer here, so.
In that respect, since it's the 35th year of the ADA, is the city of Alameda, or are we doing anything to celebrate that?
So that's not necessarily related to the bylaws, but
Sorry.
it's informal enough. I'll just go ahead and answer it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know which, but because I started in January and just trying to get everything under my belt, I didn't have time to plan an event in July, although I would have loved to. So what I was able to get together, though, are three, the three streets, Webster, Central, and Park, I think it is, where they hang banners over. So we have a happy anniversary to the ADA banner that should have gone up yesterday. I went to go out and take a photo today, and they weren't up yet. So I'm hoping they get put up tomorrow. But they'll be up for a week or two just to commemorate the ADA. So that's a little something, not as grand as I would love, but maybe for the 36th year, we'll do something.
Hopefully you'll be if Lillian will probably forward it to you if she hasn't, is there's a lot of great information comes out of Pacific ADA, and they're right there in Oakland, and they handle the whole West Coast, and they do like monthly information and there's a conference every year that is open to the commissioners, and it's full of wonderful information. It's every summertime usually, isn't it? Haven't really heard about this year, huh? Interesting, actually, I just realized that, huh?
The main regional center ADA network conference thing was hosted a couple of months ago, but it was hosted by the Southeast Regional ADA Center. So Pacific this year, they're primarily focusing on local, smaller scale webinars and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like two-day thing, you know, and it's usually in San Francisco or Oakland or like that. Well, this is a little old, huh? Look at this. 10 years, the 25th
Wow.
anniversary. I was like, this is that old. My goodness, I didn't realize, huh? Yeah,
Still celebrating.
yeah.
So any other clarifying questions or comments on the bylaws?
Not for this. The edits look good to me, so I don't have anything.
Someone wants to introduce a motion and then a second and a vote?
I move to adopt the bylaws.
I second that.
And then do we each need to vote, or is it just,
Everyone can vote, please. Yeah, just to adopt the bylaws.
I vote in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
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 Thank
Okay,
you.
It's a motion for
That's-
the vote. Sorry.
What?
I'm still catching up on my parliamentary procedure. It's a motion to take a vote,
Yes.
and then we each vote. Now I
Yes.
follow.
Yeah, and then technically you would say any discussion on the motion, then
Got
if
it.
people want to make amendments or change something, but I think we're all pretty formal and very agreeable.
Yes.
and which is-
But we have rules if we need them.
Yes.
We do, we have, just in case.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Lip. Okay, so
I'm glad we have a resident parliamentary expert.
Yes.
Parliamentarian.
So the new revised commission bylaws have been adopted by unanimous vote, which is great. We'll now close the agenda items for this, the regular agenda items for this meeting and move to commission communications. If any commissioners have anything they would like to share.
I want to welcome our newest commissioner, Commissioner Lyons. Welcome. And I don't know if you want to give an introduction of yourself. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's great to have you on board. And
Yeah, sure, I can introduce myself to the group and the group beyond. Julie Lyons, and yeah, so my background is in healthcare, where I was both a physical therapist and an acupuncturist, and had an interest in advocacy for persons with disabilities my whole life, even though I wasn't always disabled, but did contract a disability later on in life. So, as I said during the city council meeting, I have the unique perspective of living a life of both able-bodied and disabled person. And so even as a healthcare provider, having worked with that population for a long time, it's a completely different situation once it's in your own world, physically and all of the other mentally and emotionally. So, yeah, I'm happy to be able to learn from this commission. I think I'm looking forward to participating in whatever way I can provide my background and little expertise or what have you, but I'm also interested in really learning how to be helpful to the community and the city of Alameda. And I very much am a firm believer in equal access for everyone. I feel like there's no excuses. I don't want to feel like I see people sitting on the sidelines because they can't participate. I'm very active in athletics and a couple of organizations, one called the Challenged Athlete Foundation, which I'm very proud to be part of. And I'm always amazed with what people deal with their disabilities and how they how they continue to strive and work hard and participate, and it's very humbling at times. So, yeah, there's a lot happening in the city of Alameda in terms of new projects, and so I'm very hopeful that all of them will meet the ADA requirements, so that everybody can benefit. Yeah, I'm grateful for the ADA for 35 years. I'm glad I was born during that part of it. And I did mention in the city council meeting Judy Human, who we need to mention also as the founder of the Disability Rights very strong activist from Brooklyn, and then educated and went to Cal. And if you want to look that up, there's a whole lot of history about her and famous sit-ins that happened in San Francisco. So, yeah.
I think she came and spoke at the ADA conference.
Oh, yeah, she passed away, I think, 2023.
Yeah, a few years back.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
She was an amazing woman.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all.
Welcome. It's great having you. Yeah.
Did we do the same with John?
We did, yeah.
I hope we didn't slight you.
No, no.
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah, we
but-
did, thank you, yeah. But,
I forget my memory.
He was not our rookie for long.
I don't even know everybody's name.
Oh, that's true. I know. Well, we met.
We met,
Allison
yeah.
Mullings, yeah. So, and then Commissioner.
John Lip, how are you?
John, yeah.
Yes, we met before.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
I just realized that was you.
That
Just
was
a-
you,
just a-
yes.
Just a minute ago, I just like, oh, that is John.
And that is Julie, so thank you, yes. So
Yeah.
now I have your email finally.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
And I'm Kathleen Bondsmith.
Hi, Kathleen, nice to meet you.
I'm Lisa.
Lisa.
And you're singing to the choir because I lived my life and had a wonderful career, home, job, and became disabled. And so my life and everything I knew changed, yeah. And after having my mother become disabled, then all these years later, then I became disabled. And the changes of your whole life, emotionally, physically, financially, every which way is mind-blowing. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know, but on that side, but on the other side, you realize you're stronger than you think. Because you have, what choice do you have? You have to keep going, and you have to do what you can do. And I kind of when I first joined too, that was the thing, I wanted to help people that in the disabled community, because I'd seen it with my own mother, but then for myself, so, yeah. It's been a wonderful 8 years. Oh, I would like to say something. I finished the CERT program, and one of the things that came up, we talked about, you guys know what the CERT program is, Certified Emergency Response Team, was the obstacles of evacuating the disabled community. And I was telling Dan, one of the firemen, and I said, you know, a few years back, we tried to put the survey out. The city tried to put that survey out, just even to have some sort of database that we would, so we would actually know, like, this person may be in a wheelchair, this person, if we have an emergency. And again, the response was so low, and people, they just didn't want to respond because of their own privacy or whatever reason, so that's been an obstacle, yeah. But
Is that on your year to come list? I know we saw it tonight. Okay. About an evacuation preparedness
Right, yeah,
plan.
yeah. Yeah, that was a real interesting class, program. I'm glad just even for myself, to feel more aware, you know, in an emergency. Of course, you want to be able to help other people, but you also want to know that you can, the safety first is the main thing that they talk about. You have to take care of yourself first, you know, like, so it was very interesting and eye-opening.
I think that's great that you did that, and I remember that survey, and I did fill it out.
Yeah, there you go.
And that has been a concern, and I've worked with Leslie Krongold, who is now moved, but she was big in the CERT program. And I guess one thing that comes to mind when you say, you know, why don't people respond for their own privacy, or I'm not sure what else, but I think that's where, again, as hopefully we can become more visible and become more educators and have more functions available as part of knowing that there are people that live in the city with disabilities, and it's more known instead of unknown, so there's no fear around it.
All right.
I just purchased the disability awareness flag on Amazon, and can't wait to put it out on my front of my house to have people ask me, what does that flag mean? Because the city of Boston is doing something for ADA and having a walk over a certain bridge to whatever, and the flag is hanging in the city hall there, and I think that awareness would curb that fear, hopefully, or embarrassment, or whatever it might
Oh,
be.
I think that's great. I want a flag. I'll order me
On
a flag.
Amazon.
There you
I'm
go.
not
I will
promoting
order one.
Amazon, so it's Prime Day, though.
There you go.
And I have one quick comment. Commissioner Hall, is this your last meeting?
I guess I have maybe one more meeting. We have to have one more commissioner coming on.
Okay, then I table my comment.
Okay, well then, table your comments. It was very fun riding in the parade with Kathleen. We were racing to get there on time because the roads were closed, you know, and it was
So
like an
hard to get to,
obstacle
yeah.
course,
Yeah.
and it was crazy, but we made it.
Made it.
We made it. It was fun. Yeah.
I have one other comment. Lillian made a lovely plaque, and so just taking a minute to honor, like, Commissioner Roloff, who unfortunately isn't here, but just an appreciation for her long service with the commission. And so Lillian, I know you'll be diligent and make sure she gets this, and it's beautiful what you presented. But just want to take a moment on the record to make sure that we acknowledge and thank her for all her dedication over years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and through COVID and through,
Yeah, she did,
Lots of
she did
challenges.
seven or maybe
Wow.
8 years,
I think it
almost.
must have been
Yeah,
8
yeah,
if she
2
turned out,
terms.
yeah.
Yeah, because she kind of, I'm not sure when she came in during that first
Oh,
term,
okay.
but yeah.
So much appreciated.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay, or communication, sorry. So final item on the agenda is staff communications. I just have a few things I wanted to go over. So side note related to Commissioner Lyons' comment, I just wanted to second the book by Judy Heumann, Being Human. There's a beautiful audiobook version read by the author in her voice. It's just fantastic to hear the story. So the other element that we're doing for ADA in Alameda is just to share your story. So just a reminder, if you would like to share your ADA impact story, then those will go out on stories, social media, Instagram stories, hopefully over the month. I would love to get more than a few submissions just so we can really spread that. It would be a great opportunity to then, sidestep and also share about the commission, about different things that are going on. So just better ways to connect that way. And then just a couple of upcoming things. The July 11th, there is a disability pride event / protest rally that's being held as part of the ADA anniversary. There's a network of ADA coordinators and different people within the field who have been collaborating to kind of develop some events. So this is one that stands out. It's at the, the Center for Independent Living campus in Berkeley. July 11th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Woolsey Street, just outside the Ed Roberts campus. They will be gathering together for a walk, an event, celebration / advocacy, protest. So wide-ranging gathering for people impacted by disability. if there's an application deadline coming for July 14th to be part of the newly formed MTC, which is the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. They are creating a community advisory council, so they are seeking applicants for that by July 14th. These can be people that are, aware of accessibility issues within transportation, but also they would love to staff the council by people who have disabilities. The East Bay Regional Parks District, they have opened up their survey for their next 10-year plan. So that's actually probably a really important survey to fill out because it will drive initiatives and priorities for the next 10 years in the East Bay Regional Parks District. So their survey is online at their main website. You can just go and take the survey. Obviously, that would be a great opportunity for people with disabilities to share how they use parks and access issues. One side note, anecdotally, is, all of our little beaches in the region are shared with East Bay Regional Parks District. And so the city of Alameda can address certain access barriers, but we can't do all of it because we rely on the Parks District to do that. So it would be great if they could get robust survey responses. And then the final thing is that I am still combing through and just trying to sort through See-Click-Fix for 2024. I would love to create a presentation or a report for a future meeting to go through some of that. So I think individually, if you would like to email me specific search terms, but just so you guys are aware, since this isn't a non-agenda item right now, is just that I'm looking for requests that come in through See-Click-Fix related to tripping hazards, clear access issues, sidewalks, things like that, and then also our response times. So that's something that is in the works as well. But if you have any individual comments, you're welcome to email me about the See-Click-Fix things so that I can include it in the reporting. And that's it for my communications. If there's nothing
One
else.
of the
Oh, yes, please.
See-Click-Fix was at Barn Hill Marina, and who also has eviction and other issues. But I was driving over there, and this was, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago, and they had one handicap spot, and in that handicap spot was a rusted old boat trailer that had probably been there for who knows how long. I related to Sarah, who said, and then we related to ClickFix, whatever, and boy, they were right on it, and they were like, oh, we didn't know it was a problem, and it literally had been sitting there rusted, who knows how long it was, but boom, it was gone in a couple days. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I will
Yeah.
say See-Click-Fix is proving to be an extremely effective tool
so.
for just our city departments being able to manage the work and also being aware of what's needed. So it's
Right, with the people taking a picture, right, there it is, there's your, right there,
yeah,
yeah.
it's typically very effective.
Can I ask a quick question about the East Bay Park survey? I forget the name of the survey that was conducted by the city of Alameda, I think about a year ago, that solicited people's opinions on accessibility. Do you remember this?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah,
But I don't know if it's what was part of the transition plan, but there was a whole subset of people's kind of free text responses, and a lot of them had to do with things that were actually under the jurisdiction of the East Bay Parks. A lot of comments about beach access and
That's right.
accessibility. There was a ton of stuff, and then at that point, during one of the presentations, I forget who the speaker was, she was going to forward that on to East Bay Parks. And I think that happened, but she never got a response. Is there a way to collate those responses and give them in some mechanism to the people who are running the survey?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I've read through the survey responses because I find that a lot of the comments in there are even more useful than some of the, consultant, like the barriers found by the consultants, because these are experience-based. So I can definitely follow up with the Public Works Director, Erin Smith, who I meant to give a shout out to earlier in my transition plan presentation, didn't get a chance to, because she definitely is the did a lot of the foundational work for this. So Erin Smith is the one who likely reached out to East Bay Parks with some of those comments, but I can follow up with her to see if there's any way we can make sure that they're on the forefront, or maybe I'll just flood the survey with those responses.
Thank you.
So that was it from me. If you'd like to do a motion for adjournment.
motion?
Motion for adjournment?
Yeah.
Second it?
All right. I know, I think that one is effective.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
on the
Thank
second
you.
one.